Alright, now that we got this thing popped apart, we can see what we are dealing with. We can see what kind of hardware we have. So, the computer itself appears to have just your standard layout for uh, a baby ATX type system, mini ATX, whatever you want to call it. I want to check the power supply fan and make sure it's still loose. It is. Okay. The CPU fan needs a little bit of a clean out. It probably wouldn't hurt to actually oil this a little bit, which I might do that. Outside of that, it appears that it has just a modem, and that is it. Now, motherboard's pretty bog standard. What I don't know is if this battery is actually any good still. I don't think it is, but I can replace that. I got spares, no big deal. Let's see what kind of RAM we have here. We have a 64 megabyte from 2000. So this is from 2000. I was 14 when that was made. That one is from 97. So somehow I think this is not an original one. Someone shoved that in there. So that was not factory likely. This one was factory. So this thing says it had 64 megs of RAM. So it's probably got more than that now. Let's see what kind of processor we got. I want to take that heatsink off anyways because yeah. There we go. I don't know where my actual screwdriver went, but so in case you don't know, when it comes to these types of heat sinks, there's always a tab on this side, and there's a hook here. What that hook is designed for is for you to put a screwdriver in so you can push down and pull out like a fulcrum. You just turn it like a lever, and that will allow you to pop this clip off and remove this heatsink. I'm probably going to have to clean all that off anyways. Intel Celeron 633. So it's kind of weak. It still has the factory CPU, which makes sense. Now I got to clean all that up, but it's the factory CPU, which makes sense. One thing I'm going to do is before this thing goes out, because I've got a friend of mine that I want to give this machine to. Whether he uses or not, I don't know, but I do want to give it to him. One thing I want to do is I want to get this hard drive removed and I want to image that drive. And then that way I have the factory image and then wipe it and then just take it back to defaults. But I want to just take care of the bare essentials. So I think in order for this machine to be relatively useful in the year 2023, even though it's not going to ever be useful, but just to even consider the thought of making it useful in a modernish sense to getting files on and off of it, I'm going to pull this modem out and I will set it aside. And we're going to put an Ethernet card in here. Now, this Ethernet card is just some generic one, DM90102. It was in my stash. It looks like it's from 2005 date code, 2005 date code on the PCB. So whether this has a 98 or a Millennium driver or not, I do not know. But I might as well just put it in there. So now we have network capability on this hardware at least. So we're going to make that good. So I put that screw in. But before I do that, I'm going to clean some of this up. It's very nasty. It's very dusty. So I'll be back here in a jiffy. Alright, so I have everything pulled out of the case, which was relatively easy. The floppy drive's been removed, so I got to clean that. It's just full of dirt and dust. Even though it works, I want to clean it, lubricate it. I got everything removed out of the case with the exception of the power supply. I'm going to grab it next. That'll allow me to be able to clean and blow all this stuff out. Got the faceplate removed. Luckily, I didn't lose any tabs or anything because this is from that era, if you know what I mean. The other interesting observation is this CD-ROM drive. Manufacture date is June of 2000, so this came out right almost exactly when Windows Millennium Edition came out. Because I remember my Millennium Edition free retail copy was dated June 19th of 2000, so that's kind of an interesting observation. So it'll be interesting to see this machine run again with a nice fresh copy of Windows. So, okay. All right, I want to get that power supply removed. Oh God, Best Tech. Those are the ones that blow up. So I'm hoping this is not a plagued out power supply. I'm going to take it apart and check it because that's just what you do. You don't send your friends junk. So, okay, CD-ROM, audio cable, just kind of sits down there and plugs in the motherboard, but I'm going to remove all of that and get the rest of this apart and cleaned up. Alright, I've been slowly blowing the dust off and all of that stuff, and I decided to take the power supply apart because I just wanted to see what it looks like on the inside, and yep, as I suspected, plagued out capacitors. Nice domed top. It's a 2216 volts. I gotta look in my stash. There's another one here too, so I gotta look in my stash and see what I have, but they're all gonna have to go. So, yep, if I want this thing to last any time at all, they're gonna have to go. So we're gonna have to work on that. I got the power supply out of its shell so I can take a better look at it. And yeah, I see two of them that are bad so far. This one and this one behind it. But every single one of these capacitors in this power supply is that weird P brand. All of them, including the small signal ones back here. So I'm going to have to change. If I want this power supply to last any length of time at all, this is prime plague era crap, I'm going to have to change out every single one of these capacitors. Every one of them. Do I have to change the mains filters too? Maybe. I don't know what brand they are. Jamicon. No, I can leave those alone. Those can get left alone. But all of these are that P brand, so they've all got to go. P for piss. That's exactly what it is. I'm in the process of making my capacitor list, and this is just fun. So I've got two 2200 microfarad at 10 volt caps here, which is here and here. They're physically the same capacitor. Now right behind it is a bloated cap, and notice it's a lot thinner of a capacitor, right? Just you can tell. Guess what it's rated for? It's also rated for 2200 at 10 volt, which you may not be able to see. No, but I'll pull it out. You'll see it in a minute. 2200 at 10 microfarad. Same exact capacitor. So this is also rated for 2200 at 10 volt. But that's what it says on the body, but I question it because it's a physically different size. And also that one's popped. So it says it's 2200 microfarad, but is it really? I don't know. It was a plague era, and that's the problem with this era. So it's like anybody working on retro technology, it's within from like 1970 to now, there's like several humps of bad capacitor eras. Some are age related and some are just espionage related like that. So it's just things to keep an eye out for when you're working on things like this. Finished out my cap list, and it just gets even crazier. So every single one of these caps besides this one's rated at 2200 microfarad, with the exception of this one, which is rated at 16 volts. This is tall one here. It's just, now it's not unheard of to have slightly skinnier, taller caps in different voltage ranges. That's fairly common, but I mean the sizes are kind of all over the place. So yeah, they all got to go. They're all of the low ESR variety, so they're all going to be replaced. I might leave these alone, but every one of these are gonna have to go. But for now, I'm gonna set that off to the side, and we're gonna start looking at and working on cleaning up some other stuff. I want to get that fan cleaned up, but before I do that, I want to get this hard drive up on my rig, because this is the original hard drive. I want to get this up on the hard drive reader and image it so we have the image. Alright, I think now we're at the point where we can actually image this drive for a backup. So, it's not spinning. Oh, come on. Just plug it in. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's detected. So, HP, we're not going to do that. We're going to run HD raw copy tool, quantum fireball, 15 gigs is a source drive. Target, we're going to do a file. And we're going to make this one not compressed. Make this one HP Pavilion. I don't know how to spell it, but I don't care. I just want to save it. Will it work? There we go. We're backing up the drive, so I will be back in a minute once this gets done. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get all this crap cleaned up and get some thermal paste on there. Yay, no bad sectors and no errors. So it's all copied now. Perfect. So now that we have the image, we might as well just go ahead and wipe it. So there it goes. Gone. Okay, so now it's... There it is. Now, I don't think WinImage is going to open that. It's going to be like, no. Actually, it does. I'm amazed. Alright, well, I got it all, so we're good. Now we're just going to wipe the drive, and I'm going to just put a fresh copy of Windows Millennium Edition on it and get it all set up properly so it doesn't have personal data on it. This is really the reason why I'm doing this. Or something, I don't know yet, but alright, that's good. So now we can move on and clean this up and start putting this thing back together, with the exception of the power supply, of course, because I got to get caps for that. I got to look at what I have in my stash, but I think I've run out of most of this stuff already. Hard drive low level formatted, so everything's good there. I went ahead and cleaned the fans out. I re-lubricated that bearing. I cleaned this fan out, but that bearing is sealed, so I can't lubricate it. So I'm just going to have to leave it alone. That's the part number of that fan, if anybody's curious. Same thing with that one there. They're Delta fans. They're not Chinesium Wonder Muffins. So, anyways, we'll see. Now, I think it's time to move on to this and start pulling these caps out of here, because they are shot. I got to see what I have in my stash to make this thing work. But I do have my capacitor list for that power supply right there. So there we go. Alright, so I'm pulling the capacitors out, and it just gets even more suspicious, because here we go, right here. Right here. Here's an example. So this is rated as a 2200 at 10 volt, which is the one that's blown, right? This one is rated for 1000 at 16. Now, if you put the two of them side by side, they're identical. Same height, same size, same everything. So you tell me, that looks accurate. That's about right. That's not. There's no way this is rated at 2200 at 10 volt. So that is probably a 1000 or a 1200 that was rebadged, because there's just no way. From my experience, that's not accurate. There's no way. So My 2200s that I have are like huge mungus. For example, here is a 1500. Look at the size difference. Okay, so that's a 1500. And then I have, let's see, do I have any? There's 1000 at 25. And this is a much higher rated cap. That's why it's bigger. There's a 1500 at 16 volt. And that's about right. So that's slightly bigger than the original 22s. Now, I have a 2200 at 25 volts. So this is rated at 2200 at 10 volt, a 2200 at 25 volt. Look at the size difference. It's just, I mean, this is an 1800 at 16. So there's a 1200 at 16. That's what we just had a minute ago. These are, okay, here we go. Right here. 2200 at 10 volt. Same exact rating. And this is a 2200 at 10 volt. I mean, it's radically different. A lot thicker and a bit taller. So that's what I mean. These are the right ones. So I will put the rated value in there, but that's what I have. So that's why I think that these just are not the right value. Because here's another 2200 at 10 volt. See, we got a 2200 at 10 volt right there. And then we got a 2200 at 10 volt right there. And they're from the same brand. And the font's even radically different. So, I mean, why? Why? Seriously. Plague era. This is what you run into. And there we go. Recapped. So I got all new caps in here with the exception of these 22s at 50 volts. The only ones I have on hand I bought a long time ago for a project that never materialized, but I still have them. So replace those in there. They're all matched values now with the exception of this one capacitor here, which is on the 12 volt rail. It calls for a 22 at 16, but the problem is all my 22s at 16s are too big to fit in here, which means it was never originally a 2200 at 16 anyways. So yeah, we've already went through that discussion. So I put what does fit in here is an 1800 at 16, so that's what I shoved in there. So we now have an 1800 at 16 in there, which will be good enough. Everything else is characteristics matching, and we should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy back together. I want to mark on it that it's been recapped, and that hopefully should never have a problem again. Alright, now that's out of the way, plus my obligatory Diet Coke. But that is now done, complete. Hopefully it works. We can finally start putting this thing back together. So I have my thermal paste here, which is just crap from Radio Shack, that stuff there. I've had for a while now. This is just good old Arctic silver, so I'm just going to put a little bit on the chip here. Nothing, you don't need a whole lot. Doesn't take much. It's about all you need, and actually that might be a little too much. You don't need much, because as soon as you put the heatsink on, it's going to spread it way out. So that's done. I can get that out of my way. So I'll lose that. And then heatsink. What I don't remember is where the... Let's see. So there you go. Just kind of mush it on there just like that. Now I got to put the camera down and put that clip back in. So you naturally want to plug here. So I think that fan is backwards. Because, yeah, not a big deal. I'll get that situated. And there we go. Problem solved. I got that fan sounds fine. All the dust is cleaned out of it. So at this point, I need to change this battery because I can just about guarantee you that that battery is dead. Let's find out, shall we? is going to be interesting to do with a single hand. So, let's see. Actually, 2.7 volts. I'm amazed. That battery still fine, 2.7 volts. But she's getting low, so this machine is what, 23 years old now? And this battery is still holding a charge? That is honestly amazing. But it's getting replaced. So let's go ahead and get this cut out and get it put in there. Alright, that's all good. So now I can start putting the rest of it back together. This is not the original, but that's what I have, so it's going in. I didn't get any bad RAM problems, so I'm just going to leave it alone. These capacitors here tend to be made by Daewoo, so they're probably fine. I'm not sure, because that's who made the board. So I'm likely to leave it, alone. So the battery's in there, RAM's back in there, video card. The LAN card's in there, which I might have to download a driver for. We'll have to see how that works out. So that is out of my way and done. So now I can just set that aside. The next thing I want to do is I want to work on the CD-ROM drive. Yes, it works. There's no problem with it. But I want to pop the top of this off and clean the laser assembly and clean up the sled and all that stuff and make sure that there's no dirt in here that's going to cause me problems. And I think this drive will be alright. And I'll probably pop this floppy drive apart as well and clean the head and put it back together. And then we can put this whole machine back together and try it out. Now, I wiped that hard drive. It's been completely formatted. So I'm going to have to make a boot disk, and I'm going to have to reinstall Windows and all that fun stuff. But before I do, I'm going to go on archive.org and see if I can find the restore media for this machine. Because if I can find the restore media, I'll burn the disks, and I'll do it that way. Otherwise, I'll just put the retail copy, Windows Millennium Edition in there, and I'll reload it, and we'll be fine. Got the drive apart, and this thing isn't exactly easy to get apart, but it's not terrible. Here's why it still opens and closes. It's a gear-driven eject mechanism. It's not belt drive. So, the grease is still pliable. It's not hard or anything yet, so I'm going to leave it. This really looks like an Xbox 360 drive. So, what we're going to do is, I'm going to spray a little bit of this on the thing, because I need to soak up that. I don't need much, just a little bit. We're just going to clean the laser diode really, really well. The lens, yeah, it's dirty. See that? Yeah, that sucker needed some cleaning. Alright, so now we're going to clean the rails. Just general maintenance related tasks, nothing special. It's all good. Yeah, she's kind of like dirty. See that? Nasty. It's all dust. So that's clean. So that's all good. It still feels okay. So, alright. I think that's all we need to do to this drive. That's it. Everything's all clean. There's like something in there. Hear that? It's in this motor. I wonder if that's how it balances itself out because it's such a high-speed drive. Not entirely certain, but that was easy enough, so let's go ahead and put this guy back together. Right now, these floppy drives are pretty straightforward, at least this particular Tri-Gem model, which I've never heard of, but take this top screw out, and this just slides back and it lifts off. Fairly simple. And it's a good thing I took it apart because it is nasty in here. So I am going to clean this up the best I possibly can. We'll clean the head, stepper motor, and then, yeah, it's pretty nasty in here. So let's get all that good. And the floppy drive worked, as we saw before, but it doesn't hurt to clean it. Alright, the machine is back together now. This is the, let's see, 6735 model, right? The 6740 recovery media is actually on archive.org. So I've downloaded that. The 35 is not available, but the 40 is. So I'm going to try that and see what happens. I'm in the process of burning it right now. There's this little computer back there, but I'm going to burn disk 1, then I'm going to burn disk 2, and let's hope that works. If it doesn't, then I'll just do a retail copy of Windows. Alright, world's thickest power cord. So turn this monitor on. It's on, no explosions. That one may not be good enough for this machine. We'll see. Okay, here goes nothing. It's either going to work or it's going to blow up on camera. Powered straight on. Hey, and it works. Seeing if I can get into the BIOS. I don't know if I can or not, but we're going to try. Power supply came right up. Okay, CD-ROM drive opens. What's taking so long? Looks like that got done. Well, yeah, of course. Now, that's disk 1. Disk 2. It's just going to be fun to try to do this single-handedly. Alright. Okay, so... Oh, you come on. Disk 2. Alright. We're going to let that do its thing. First off, I got to find out why this thing is freezing, so give me a minute. Alright, I think I got down to the bottom of what it was. Let's see. Yep. That's what it is. Can't use a USB mouse. You can only use a PS2 mouse, and the only ones I have are ball mice. Okay. Probably want me to create and format a partition before it'll actually do anything. So, yeah. At least the drive sees the disk and it boots. I got my disk 2 up here already. So we'll skip through all of this. Alright, well, I got through the formatting process and then I got to this screen. So, yeah, that's a problem. So now I'm downloading a cracked copy for a slightly newer model. So this is just getting interesting as we go along. It's gonna be like, no. Okay, well, let's burn another disc. Here's the next problem. So now I'm trying this cracked copy. I'm downloading it, but I just realized something. It's 885 megabytes. How am I supposed to burn 885 megabytes onto an 800 megabyte CDR? How is this a CD? It's not. The thing is, these machines did not come with DVD-ROM drives new as far as I'm aware of. So, yeah, that's confusing. Okay, so this is the last one in the 6 series. I'm downloading the other two ISOs. I only downloaded the one because archive.org is kind of slow. I just finished burning it, so let's see what this one does. Hopefully I don't get the same error. We'll see. Yeah, I got these two here, which don't work because it throws that error. So, come on. Reboot. Well, it looks like it's starting up the same. Got the same screen as before. Alright. Here's where it would die. Whoa. See, la la la. Hey! It didn't die. It didn't give me the error. Nice. Well, that's going to take a while. So, hey, we're getting further now. There we go. Now we're cooking with fire. We'll just let this guy run because we're getting further than we did before. Well, it does not start up in 640 by 480 mode. That is a fail. So I'm going to have to use a different monitor. Alright, now it's time to start Windows. Yeah, that hard drive grinding away. All this looks familiar from the other install. This thing's trying to start a bunch of crap in the background. And I forgot how much bloatware that the old factory installs used to come up with. .24-bit apply. Alright, so we're running 24-bit color, Millennium Edition. I don't know whatever this thing comes with. Let's see. Application recovery. There we go. The disk is installed anyways. What do I need? I don't need any of these. AGP drivers, nope. Intel i8-10. Actually, you know what I need to find out? I need to find out what drivers are actually installed. They're all installed. The only one not's the Ethernet card, which makes sense because it's from 2005. So, zip tools, multimedia, modem driver. I really don't need any of these drivers. Oh, you know what? Oh, wow. On-screen display. So, the audio drivers are installed too. Yep, Crystal audio driver. It's there. So, I don't need... Maybe that. Maybe that. Alright, so I think we're done with that. I don't need that anymore. What is this? I remember, I think it tried to run this earlier. During the initial setup. Yeah. God, the bloatware. Like, seriously. Good evening. Exit. No. Bonsai buddy moment is what that is. Bye. Don't come back now. Yeah, we're on the right time. So, okay. Music match jukebox. Oh, yeah. That's from earlier in the video. I remember that now. Yeah, cancel all that. Goodbye. Get out. Don't care. Oh, God. Bad resolution. No. Go away. Oh, all the bloatware they put in here. Okay, so it's been a while since I've used 9X, so software. Conversion. Oh my god, there's so much crap that's running. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yahoo HP reminder. Delete. You're gonna go away. Run. HP. All this stuff is just running in the background. But tour. Delete. I don't need you. Oh man. HP tour guide. Delete. Yeah, it's trying to start something now. Which means go in there. There should be a task manager options. I remember that's when I first started that. La 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 la. Schedule tasks. There they are. Get out of there. Alright, so I think I'm gonna call it for this video because we've gone about as far as we want to. I still have to install the Ethernet driver, which I'm not gonna deal with at this current moment in time. I'll do that later after the video because this video is getting pretty long. So I think at this point I'm going to call it one and wrap this guy up because everything's working fine and we restored it back to factory defaults and everything seems to be working with this particular disk set. So anyways, if you have a comment, please feel free to leave one and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And thank you for watching. Until next time, guys. This is like the dawn of software as a service. And for some crazy reason, the Norton Antivirus 2003 live update server is still online in 2023. That's 20 years old and it's still going.